Hello and welcome to the Dire Gentleman channel. I'm Gus Zagarella, and don't walk up the upside-down staircase.
Hi, I'm Addison Peacock, and I hope you studied for the test that's today.
And I'm Henry Galley, and do not let the puppet monkey strangle you in front of your indifferent family on the stairs.
We have very different dreams.
Or nightmares.
Which is what we're discussing today, because as you remember, approximately 50,000 years ago, we made a Two Professional Writers video on Creepypasta, which we're going to do a sequel to sometime. But in that video, Gus told the story of his dream about the zombie known as We Are Not Alive.
The original spooky, scary nightmare MILF.
It makes me laugh so much.
Who is paired perfectly with I Am Slender Man.
I am Slender Man.
After having fun with our nightmares, we decided we would delve into the subconscious of you, the fans of the Dire Gentleman channel, you bunch of freaks and weirdos.
And I know what you're thinking. I don't remember leaving that comment. How do they know about my nightmare? Did I leave that comment? Don't ask that question. Just watch the video, like, and subscribe.
We're just hiding like this futuristic piece of tech that just has the words "Dream Gun" written on the side. There's like a piece of tarp.
If we do one of your comments in this video, make sure you leave a comment down below that says, I don't remember leaving that comment.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read out some of your weird, wacky dreams you left here and riff on them. So without further ado, is everyone ready to enter the dream world with fucking Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Absolutely not. You didn't tell me we'd be going to the land of milk and cookies. I didn't sign on for this shit.
It's time to ruin their dream journal.
As one Christopher Pratt once said, let's a go.
God.
Our first dream comes from Bluebird858. One of my nightmare demons is Medusa, but she acts more like a vampire/crocodile. Instead of turning me stone, she stalked me while I was swimming, pulled me underwater, and then suddenly I was a gorgon too, and was stalking prey with her.
Hell yeah.
And then there are a couple of comments in response to this. Monica said, honestly, that sounds pretty sick, especially cool thing for a nightmare monster to do to you.
Yeah.
Kraz Mazov said, yeah, it's like the Shadow over Innsmouth, but good. And then Mr. Sandmuth commented, #girlbot.
Honestly, I was literally just about to say, I'm sorry to this person, but I support her.
Yeah, I knew you'd love the get turned into a Medusa dream.
I really like the behavior of this monster that, ambush predator like a crocodile, changes people into what they are, and what they are is a Medusa girl boss who's just winning.
I love this. Can we greenlight the sitcom?
Has have either of you guys played the game Monster Prom?
I know of it, never actually played it.
Oh, okay. Just one of the love
Same,
interests
yeah.
in that game is a very mean Medusa girl boss, and I just am thinking about her.
Incredible. Okay, on to the next little piece of psychic ephemera from Cal Hanlon. One nightmare I had as a kid was me in my bedroom. However, for some reason, my bedroom was purple and covered in pipes. The last thing I remember was a large monster entering my room and saying something in gibberish. It looked kind of like a weird mascot, gritty but covered in / made out of bright green Nickelodeon-style slime.
I like this. I love weird, gritty slime monster.
It's like this whole thing feels like this is what would happen if you ate a really spicy curry or some intense cheese fries while watching the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat movie, then went to bed afterwards.
You've heard of gritty. Get ready for grimy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's post scarcity.
What I love about this is this feels like kid-friendly, Nickelodeon Freddy Krueger, because he's even in a purple boiler room from the sounds of it.
Gritty Krueger.
Please, I'm putting out a blanket statement. Artists who are fans of this channel, we beg you to draw some of these creatures, because I guarantee Gritty Kruger will not be the last amazing one we encounter. And Girl Boss Medusa.
I have to say, you know how you always see people being like, oh, I never want to hear people describe a dream unless I'm in it? I always do, because people's dreams are so bizarre.
Yeah, no, legit. I've never gotten, like, people's, like, you know, being adverse to, like, hearing about dreams. It's super interesting to, like, you know, hear how people's subconscious works.
I mean, I will say a lot of this is maybe going to reveal something about me, but a lot of the dreams that I can remember, they're like very boring stress dreams, usually involving me having to like re-enroll in high school and like make up one missing like science credit I never got.
I've had those ones too.
Sometimes I'll have ones that are just like, I returned to an old shitty job I used to have. Why did I do this? This is the worst.
Yeah.
But I guess I have to.
Now we have the nightmare from Carolyn. Spell Carol and then another L and two N's.
Carolyn.
When I was a toddler, I had a nightmare about a, quote, knight in shining armor. No, that'd be a very different thing. Knight in shining armor, unquote, named the Bop, capital T, capital B, who lived behind this old wood-burning stove we had. The Bop did nothing in the nightmare, just stood there. But I knew he was there to kill me. My mom remembers me waking up screaming, "The Bop! The Bop!"
He'll bop ya.
Yeah, then I bopped him.
What are the odds that this person as a child heard someone describing the horror movie The Blob and then they just sort of synthesized it into that because they didn't know what it was?
But I like that he's a knight that lives behind a wood stove. It sounds like a German fairy tale. Like, I am the Bop and I'm going to bop you.
It's so true.
I am doing nothing, but I am here to kill you, and you sense this implicitly.
I bop the naughty children who suck their thumbs.
Until they die. Then they will never suck their thumbs again.
Then I burned them into wood-burning stove.
Yeah.
To warm my body and the armor that covers it.
Every single one of these has been amazing so far. We've got Girl Boss Gorgon, Gritty Kruger, and the Bop.
I love the Bob. I love the Bob so fucking
So
much.
the next one we have from Chris Lussier, or Lussier. Very sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly with either of those, Chris. I had this one nightmare when me and a bunch of friends were running away from zombies who kept repeating the phrase, "I am home." And eventually there was this one who was like a weird fusion of my mom and one of my friends who got past our defenses, and that I was continuously punching in the face while it said on repeat, "I am home." That image has never left my mind.
I'm laughing, but that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like somebody who was a good writer who wanted to like give you a meaningful nightmare wrote that for you. like that's like a level in Psychonauts. Like that's really interesting.
Ooh, that's so eerie.
It is.
Yeah.
We'll know that the virus is spread if we start seeing lots of comments that just say, "I am home," down in the comments.
Oh, that's
I
the
am
thing, right? Like it's
home.
giving. Have either of you guys seen Pontypool?
Yes, where they just
No.
repeat the words that infected them.
Yes.
You'd love that movie, Gus. It's
Gus.
very conceptual.
Oh, Gus. Oh, Gus. Oh, Gus. Oh, Gus. Oh, Gus.
I
Oh,
gotta
Gus. Oh,
add it
Gus.
to the list.
We'll talk about it off mic. It will probably be a Patreon. Join the Patreon, $1 a month. It's great. Are you ready for the next one? From someone called Dartwater.
Okay.
Here's the first one. The earliest nightmare monster that stuck with me. I was in a makeshift hospital with the curtains around my bed open. The harsh hospital lights were on, but everyone else was asleep, so I think it was night. Stalking through the rows of beds, opening the curtains, and this is just a great little piece of implicit storytelling, was this person? And then question mark in parenthesis, with mechanical spider legs, I think based on the Dwemer from Morrowind, an animal face, and scalpels for fingers, and somehow knew that it was named Oodle Doodle. It was... It was slicing into people's chests for some reason. It had a squirrel with a human head that I knew was named Mother's Star alongside it, commanding it, crawling on the tracks that the curtains were hung from. I think Mother Star also had the ability to make people fall asleep and maybe do other things if you looked into its eyes. I panicked and got up and started running, and Oodle Doodle was chasing me, being yelled at by Mother Star to make me do something. I woke up when it caught me.
Oh my god.
So our first dream tag team, Oodle Doodle and Mother Star.
I mean, based on this, it seems like Mother Star is the real mastermind, and Oodle Doodle just happens to be like a useful henchman.
Oodle Doodle's the muscle.
It's really funny because this feels like a really surrealist take on Dreams of Witch House, with like, you know, the little rat with the human face.
Yeah, and like, here's the thing: is the actual imagery is extremely scary, but then you tell me the names and I can't stop laughing.
Oodle Doodle and Mother Star. But that wasn't Dartwater's only thing. Dartwater made a reply to their own post saying, I was around
I'm
8
so
at this
glad.
point. I just remembered another one from earlier, around 4. I was in my room. I went to open my window. Then in parentheses, not a thing I was strong enough to do in the waking world. And suddenly there was a giant outside who picked me up. I woke up panicked and went to check on the window. I opened it and was picked up by the giant. I woke up again and the scene kept repeating. Each time I had a greater sense of dread, and I felt like I didn't even have a choice but to open the window and be picked up and presumably eaten. Eventually, I woke up and went to open the window, but was not strong enough to open the window. There was no giant outside. For the next day, I was still terrified and not sure I was awake.
Dream within dreams are so scary. I've had a couple of them before.
I love that we went from Oodle Doodle and Mother's Star to that fucking nightmare.
I like don't have nightmares frequently, but I've had a couple when I was younger where I like had the dream within a dream.
To this day, and like very recently, I will have like a lot of nesting nightmares and false wake ups, and they are just as terrifying as this comment.
Yeah, this really awakens in me the same fear that kind of like slightly like janky. Do you remember the like 2D animated the BFG?
Yeah, eerie.
Just the scene where that like little boy, one of the giants, is like right outside his window, just like fishing around in there with its like unusually sharp pinky nail, and you don't see what happens, but you just know that he like got after seeing one of his dreams. So it's like, oh, we have seen the internality of this child, and now we know he's going to be devoured and killed by these monsters that specifically go after and eat children, like you, the presumptive viewer.
Yeah, it's scary as hell. I also just had a revelation. I'm realizing now the reason I don't have nightmares very frequently is because at a certain, like, pretty young age, I figured out, not how to lucid dream, but I figured out, like, when a dream started getting scary, I would just sort of, like, nope out of it.
Very fair.
I would wake myself up, or I would pivot the dream in another direction, and I have memories of consciously doing that, of consciously being like, no, that's not gonna happen in my dream.
That's cool. That's a talent that, like, I definitely don't have.
I bet this next person, Dimensions Traveler, also wished that.
Uh-oh.
They say, a while back ago, I had this nightmare where a blackout occurred at a local retail store where I worked in the nightmare. In the nightmare, I was being chased and hunted down by a demonic corn being armed with a taser. The corn being had skinny SpongeBob legs and arms with a human face and bug teeth. He called himself Cornifer, the Lucifer of Corn. The worst part about this nightmare was that this man was legit terrifying, so that's my nightmare.
I love Cornifer, the Lucifer of Corn. I'm so sorry.
The chosen one to defeat him is the little corn boy from Recess Therapy.
I just love the idea of, like, dream logic of just, like, of course there'd be a Lucifer of Corn. How could I be so foolish as to not be prepared for this man to attack
And
me?
the fact that his weapon is a taser.
Yeah, he's just a real dude. Like, but that's so goofy because, like, his name's Cornifer, the Lucifer of Corn, but Lucifer isn't called, like, Angel of Fur.
The Lucifer of Angels. Well, it's because he was the first one.
Yeah, it's because Cornifer is derivative.
You wouldn't call it Watergate Gate.
Yeah, that's true.
But what is really funny about dreams that this makes me think of is the fact that something that is patently stupid in the waking world can be fucking terrifying in a dream.
Yeah, because you buy into it.
That brings us to the next one, Finale Chance. They say, at some point in the past, there was a nightmare where I saw a squiggly drawing of a vampire on a wall near my door, being made up of different coloured crayons, except for some reason I wasn't able to look away from it. Closing my eyes caused something to force them open, and the vampire drawing got increasingly more detailed and nightmarish, to the point where the area around it started flashing random colours. Then they went to add edit. There's also this fluid Christmas dream I had about Santa Claus. I briefly saw him riding in the sky with his sleigh and reindeer, with the moon behind him, but it was so fluid that it came off as uncanny, and I put dream in quotation marks because I still don't know if it was real or not.
Oh, hell yeah, you saw Santa.
Yeah, I love that that's a mix of like this like squiggly like vampire like road virus heads north, and then I saw Santa at a really fucked up frame rate.
Clearly, HD Santa stole this vampire away from this kid because they were good.
I was gonna say, one of the hardest things about trying to describe a nightmare or an upsetting dream is the fact that frequently the things are very silly when you describe them and when you imagine them with your waking brain, but there is something in the dream space where you have that implicit fear of it, even if it's something that when you wake up and you describe it, you're like, this is very silly, but it scared me a lot.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Well, that's the thing, because like nothing in the imagery of a dream is only that. There's also the emotions that you experience surrounding it, which are just as real. They're one and the same.
Like I said, I don't really have nightmares, but I do have stress dreams, and that's its own thing. But do you ever have an experience where you're dreaming and there's a person in your dream that does not look like a person that you know, but in the context of the dream, you recognize them as a person that you know? Like a real
100%.
person? Like, I'll have, like,
Yeah,
my
that
mom
happens a
in a
lot.
dream, and that lady in my dream does not look like my mom, but I know in my dream that is my mom.
That's the one thing about dreams that like a lot of like, you know, the very artistic movement of surrealism across all mediums is meant to like reproduce that like ineffable dreamlike state. But the one thing that is a quality truly unique to the experience of dreams that no piece of art can recreate is just the fact that a part of dreams is just knowing certain things on a very intrinsic level that, like you said, are not in any way bound to like the literal aspects of what you're experiencing. Just like how they knew that the creatures were Oodle Doodle and Mother Stuff.
Yes.
Exactly. Like the narratives of dreams are beholden to your inner thoughts as much as they are to the events which are running parallel to them.
Yeah, like I've had a dream. This is an embarrassing thing I'm going to describe it. I don't even remember who it was specifically, but I had like a dream where I was having like a fling with a celebrity, like some famous person that I have a crush on. I don't even remember who it was, but like, and like built into the lore of the dream was I knew for a fact that I had like met them at a party before, and like I remembered meeting them at a party, and then this other stuff happened, and I'm like, and then again, none of that happened. Like it had memories built into the dreamscape.
The human mind is fascinating, and that's something that will just continually be reaffirmed as we go deeper. Is everyone ready for the next one?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yes. Let's go.
This is from Half Pinter. So it's like half, then pint, and then 2 R's. So this is when it's going to get a little bit weird and conceptual. My nightmare demons go back to gluttony and starvation, feast and famine. For example, my earliest one was a perfect 50s housewife that made people into pies because she wanted to steal youth. And then in parenthesis, if I remember correctly, she forced me to eat my own sister like a stuck pig. My latest one was an amoral fae being that knows your deepest desire/pleasure, and at the moment you receive it, you are stuck there forever and are either made into sport or food. And in parenthesis, they snared me with the most delectable piece of cake I ever tasted, and the fruit that was ripe and juicy. Rotting food is a motif as well. Congealed gravy from Stephen King will never leave me. Thanks, Steve.
Damn.
What I love about some nightmare creatures is that, like we said about like the knowing things implicitly, nightmare creatures will just have methods that you wouldn't in the waking world like apply or ascribe to anything. They'll just have something that they do, and you know they'll do it.
Yes.
This thing that Meg said to me the other day just absolutely wrecked me. I forgot the context even. Meg was like, you know, I think we need to get some processes started. Try some methods.
Yeah.
Something about that is
That's
just really
good.
funny.
The thing is, this reminds me of like a recurring dream creature that I had that I don't think I've mentioned on any recording.
Oh, shit.
There was this one like being that kept showing up in a bunch of unrelated dreams, and it was when I was a little kid, and it was an entity that appeared as another little kid, but the difference is he had like really large disproportionate teeth that were like as long as his fingers.
Ugh.
Ugh.
And like every time he showed up, he wasn't even scary. He was just like the worst thing to happen because every time he showed up, he would bite me and I would get pins and needles in my stomach. And like I would just see him and I'd be like, no, fuck you. No. And he'd bite me and I'd wake up and I'd be like, no.
That's horrible. I hate that.
He went away like when I turned like 9, but like it happened like multiple times, and I was just like, "Fuck you, man!"
Gus, what
I was
the
trying
hell?
to just have a different dream.
I just have dreams that I'm like clenching my jaw so hard that my teeth start breaking off.
God, yeah, we know Gus's dreams get to weird places, much like Hope at Last's dream. They said, "Oh, weird dreams, eh? Buckle up. I got a few of these." I love that they start this like a crusty old sailor about to tell you like a tale
let
of
me
the
tell
sea
you
in
a tale.
tavern.
Why'd you spill your beans, Tommy?
Why you spill your
Why'd you tell your dreams? Alright, so Hope at Last says, "I simply woke up, quote unquote, on the living room's couch. Crabs. Everywhere in my house turned into crabs. And when I questioned my mother crab, she asked, 'What's wrong, Marco?' I ran to the corridor, tried to get to my bedroom, but the door was locked. I had a weird clickety-clickety all around me. The hallway was orange and dark. Thousands of crabs everywhere. My doorknob, crab. The ground I was on, crabs. Then I slowly look up, a gigantic crab, and it falls on my face. I wake up. I was scared. I was 6 years old. Funnily enough, my mother brought crabs to eat because she loves eating them. And to add on, I'm both arachnophobic and allergic to crustaceans."
Oh my
no.
god. That's the terrifying, harrowing experience of the crabscape.
Yeah, welcome to the crabscape.
I don't know why, but Henry's read of "What's wrong, Marco?" really
Don't want your crab.
That was probably not how it was in the dream, in hindsight.
Yeah, no, it was probably closer to like a sort of like Garfield, "I'm sorry, John" kind of situation.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. You know, I don't remember what it's called, but someone in the comments probably will, because your viewers are smart. What's that thing how eventually everything, evolution turns toward crabs? Like everything becomes
I know
crabs?
exactly.
Carcinization.
Yes.
Carcinization. Yeah.
So it's just that, but with dreams. Eventually your dreams will become about crabs.
We'll get to that
Exactly.
certain year when we have the crab dream. Formative time for us all.
If you
Next
haven't
we
had
have-
your crab dream yet, you're going to.
And when everyone's crabs, no one will be.
I really want crab now.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, yeah, no, it's.
I can't have it. I got the allergies.
Oh
too.
no, you're are
not
just
alone.
like-
Hope at last.
You're just like Marco.
Yeah.
So now we have Joey Jojo. Joey Jojo says,
Are they a Joe star?
yeah, maybe. "I think the earliest nightmare I can remember is being in some giant's kitchen. The surroundings were probably at least partially influenced by Mary Poppins, and now that I'm typing it out, definitely from Jack and the Beanstalk. Pretty sure that the giant looked kind of like if Raffi was a porcelain doll."
Did he sing "Baby Beluga" as he like stewed you in his pot?
I have to Google image Raffi so I can understand precisely what he looks like.
He called his giant mates up on his banana phone and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna make some bread out of this guy's bones. You wanna come around and enjoy it with me?"
He goes fee fi fo fum, banana phone.
Yeah. Fuck's
There he
sake.
is. That's what he looks like.
Good old Raffi. He's probably on screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Next we have Keegan Sinclair. Powerful name.
It's a great name.
And Keegan's nightmare was, "When I was 8, I had a nightmare that Spider-Man from the 90s animated series had died, and there were a bunch of people walking all over his grave and casually talking about how he died. He came back to life as a giant, buff, green-skinned zombie with a praying mantis head, and whenever he was attacking someone, his head would claymation unfold into a laughing skull with bulging eyes hanging out of the sockets by their nerves. Even as an 8-year-old, I thought it sounded stupid, but when I woke up, but in my dream, it scared the shit out of me."
Oh my god.
I feel like this should just unironically be a Spider-Man story. Like,
It could.
someone should just turn this into the comics, where like a green skull Spider-Man comes back.
Not quite the same, but do you guys remember you might not, but do you guys remember in the Spider-Man comics when he was turned into a giant spider and then the giant spider died and then gave birth to Peter Parker?
I do
I
now.
thought you were going to say when he gave his girlfriend cancer with his nut because of the spider. radiation.
His spider nut, yeah.
No, it's weirder than that. He got turned into a giant spider, and then the giant spider died, and then Peter Parker burst from its corpse, now with the ability to shoot webs out of his body. It's how they retconned the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man webbing shit into the
Incredible.
comic.
The most normal way they could have done that.
Well, you know comics, they're always straightforward.
Comics are always very normal, Henry.
Yes.
Speaking of very normal, we're on to Christian Pasleys, and that's Christian with a KH. That's a pretty novel way of spelling that.
Christian. Sorry, I did that.
I've had this weird recurring nightmare since I was a kid. It's not as crazy as Gus's Nightmare Demons, but it is kind of creepy. So in the dream, I'm always in like a textbook Indiana Jones rainforest, and it's always the dead of night. Most of the time, I'm sitting either inside, usually the back seat, or on the hood of some vintage car that's covered in moss and vines. The car changes every time I have the dream, but one thing that stays the same is it's always a bright pastel yellow. Now, the creepy part comes from this clown that never speaks, but just kind of stares me down for the entirety of the dream. The clown looks like any other kind of creepy circus clown with red hair and a striped outfit, but it has bright yellow snake eyes. It only moves to two places every time I have the dream. In front of the passenger side of the car, or on arm's length away from me. I don't really have a fear of clowns. I think they're pretty creepy given the right context, but regardless, this dream always has me waking up feeling extremely antsy and unsettled. So how do you feel about the snake-eyed jungle clown?
I don't love it.
I mean, clearly he's got some intentions that are unknown to anyone.
Maybe he's just shy. He's trying to think of a good opener.
I mean, maybe. He's not my favorite. I want to learn more about him before I pass judgment, though.
Do a bit of social media stalking on the clown.
Yeah, just like, what are his politics like? Where was he on January 6th?
Yeah, we don't know. We remember that famous... Well, the idea of, like, the QAnon shaman in those pictures was distracting from the snake-eyed clown standing in the background of the...
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
Next we have one from the adorably named Kitty and Tiny.
Aw.
And this literally... So, please, I'm begging you, try to reserve laughter for until I'm done.
I will try my very best.
That's foreboding.
This wrecked me when I first read it.
I'm already giggling, so I have to center. Let me just...
All right. Oh, boy. All right. Steal
Two
ourselves.
Two fuzzy bunnies.
See if you at home didn't laugh as I read this. My nightmare monster... I can't even do it. I was looking out the window at a dark cloud. I said, "That's a pretty stupid looking cloud." The cloud replied directly into my mind, "You'll wish you hadn't said that." I was immediately filled with intense dread at the cloud's revenge and woke up in a sweat.
I love that.
That's a pretty stupid looking cloud. "You'll wish you hadn't said that, punk."
Yeah, no, just the idea of, like, seeing, like, you know, a storm cloud in the distance and being like, ha, dumb, and then it just, like a car, turns around and starts zooming back towards you.
And, like, beams a psychic message into your brain.
I'm coming for you! I'm the cloud!
It makes me think of that one bit in Bruce Almighty, where all the, like, those, like, gang guys are, like, harassing the homeless man. And as Bruce approaches, they sort of walk away, and he goes, "Yeah, you better run." And then they all turn around and start chasing him.
Yeah.
But with a furious cloud that is very thin-skinned.
I just love the idea of them just being, like, so willing to be like, ha, stupid cloud, doesn't have any thoughts or a mind of its own, whatever. And it's like, that's where you're wrong. That's your last mistake. You will face my wrath. I am the cloud.
A cloud has
All
to
your
be...
data is in me.
A cloud has to be pretty exceptional for me to, like, vocalize my feelings on it.
Yeah.
God.
Maybe all clouds are like this. Maybe we just don't insult clouds enough, or we insult them just not enough for them not to kill us.
Yeah, I think we should all strive to not insult clouds, in fact.
No one who's listened to this will insult a cloud now.
Thank you for the PSA.
Now we're on to Lazuli's nightmare.
All right.
Ah.
I have arachnophobia, and I had a dream as a kid where I was in my grandparents' old house. There was like 2 spiders that appeared on the iPad I was using, and I tried to turn it off, but it activated this psychedelic moment where the spiders came out but were for some reason coloured like a children's colouring book. and they pinned me and just stared at me while a red and white background pulsed. To this day, they are the most terrifying nightmare demons. And then in the second bit just below, also the ghost that tried to rip my dick off because I was watching Minecraft videos on an iPad while in Minecraft IRL for some reason. That was less terrifying, but painful as hell.
Oh my god! You know, the ghost that rips your dick off if you're watching Minecraft videos in Minecraft IRL.
We've all been there. Them teaming up with the iPad spiders would create...
Yeah, because the iPad spiders will hold you down while the ghost rips your dick off. They're a perfect team.
Oh no!
Why would nature conspire against man like this?
Finally, a team that can rival Oodle Oodle and Mother's Star.
I think that they're a match for the Grabber, Black Adam, and Morbius if they all teamed up.
The ultimate gang. So next we have Little Gremlins Nightmare.
Is it Little Gremlins?
Basically, yeah. One of my nightmare creatures are goblins with a long frog tongue who turn anything they touch into ice. They would skate around on an ice rink to skate around on ice skates to get around, and they were invading the world. They used their long-ass creepy tongue to wrap them around people, drawing them in and turning them to ice.
Oh, I love these!
That's like a pretty decent villain in like a children's cartoon, actually.
Yeah, no, exactly. Ice goblins. They'll be in Gus's Pathfinder campaign next week.
It could be, yeah. I mean, it's either like a children's cartoon enemy, or it's like an enemy from a JRPG or tabletop RPG.
You're completely right. So now we have Mixed Mango's Nightmare, and what's weird about this is we're coming back to clouds.
To clouds.
So I've been wanting to share this one. This nightmare has haunted me for years, even though it sounds absolutely ridiculous. My family was going to the local science museum, which was opening a new exhibit. On the way there, we saw this rainbow bridge, so we started riding up the rainbow until we got to a secret cloud museum above the regular one. We looked around, but then the wizard Cloud Man was there. He was angry we were there despite him wanting the rainbow to take us there. So he kidnapped my sister, then in parenthesis, she was a baby when I had this dream, and put a pink hat on her head. Then he hid her under a cloud and put 3 other pink hats in a row, and we had to guess which one was my sister was under, otherwise she'd fall to the ground. We guessed, but unfortunately it was wrong, so the whole family started falling down in the van. Somehow the landing was safe and everyone was fine, and we vowed never to go to the Cloud Museum ever again. Smiley face.
I like how this is like Labyrinth mixed with Spirited Away in the format of an Adventure Time episode.
I am fully just picturing the Cloud Wizard being like, you never should have come here, like a Skyrim NPC.
The Cloud Wizard, like, you're gonna wish you didn't come here.
Right, buddy? And the Cloud, yeah!
You just shouldn't go to the Cloud Museum.
3
I just love that these clouds just hate people so much.
Yeah, we've learned that clouds, much like trees in the second 2-sentence horror story, are declaring war on humanity.
So, Bill, we attack tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
I mean it this time.
I do too.
The clouds could win that war. I don't like the trees, you know, they might want to ally with the clouds, but the clouds could kick our asses.
It's true. So next we have Mystery 10's Nightmares.
Alright.
Okay.
Mystery 10 said, I had a nightmare demon when I was a kid. There was a pizza box on a table in the middle of nowhere. Then music from an ice cream truck started playing. A swarm of kids came around the table to enjoy the pizza. But then, a huge pie of pizza with nothing but a gabbing mouth jumped out and devoured all the kids. The part I find strange is the fact that I wasn't even one of the kids, nor did I know any of them. I just saw a bunch of random kids getting eaten.
That's so weird.
Then I opened my eyes and the pizza was me.
Who wants to make the in Soviet Russia joke?
I'm not doing it.
Okay, we'll just let it hang in the air.
You
We'll leave it
can't
to the
make
commenters.
me.
I think I'll just take a sip of vodka and we can all pretend that's the same thing.
Yeah.
I won't go back to 2009, Henry. You can't make me.
Well, we know that it does dangerous things to you to do that. You become a violent warrior, a berserker.
I I can't.
Yeah.
Like, hearing this stuff is like, it's like actually, I'm like shaking. I feel physically sick.
Listen, Addison. You may not go back to 2009, but sometimes 2009 go back to you.
Yeah, no, it's like fucking 2009 is
Gus.
gone. Addison has gone and fucking Langolired it with rage.
Gus, you were my friend. You were like a brother to me. And now,
Oh,
look what you've made me do.
So The Godfather 2, I know what you did, Gus.
I know it was you, Gusso.
I was a cloud cuckoo lander the whole time, and you'll wish you hadn't done that.
A single tear rolls down my cheek as I draw my sword.
Guys, Cloud Cuckoo Lander. Clouds!
Oh,
It's all connected!
The cloud wizard guy and the cloud museum.
They're coming back for revenge from Addison's conquest.
This goes all the way to the top, and by that I mean the sky.
I am fully picturing Addison, you destroying the fucking Cloud Cuckoo Land. It was Omni-Man, I don't think you understand. Earth isn't yours to conquer. Then fucking destroying them all. But several months later, it's like, yes, we're rebuilding and we're gonna mount a counteroffensive.
Meanwhile, I'm the one who, like, you know, I wanted to defy the clouds from within, but like I never found, they were just too powerful, and I'm like, I have to pass the torch onto the Doomslayer, the only one who can really stop them.
I love the fucking emergent lore that comes into these videos. Speaking of which, our next commenter is neurotypical Kirby.
Hell
Yeah! Good old neurotypical Kirby.
And their icon is amazing. Just this weirdly buff Kirby. It'll be on screen.
Yes.
My favorite nightmare was when I was very small. I don't remember how, but I found a sarcophagus and opened it up. Inside the sarcophagus was this weird pharaoh mummy thing. With a huge upper body, like a stylized muscular cartoon character. Steve Marmel. I remember running away and the dream ending, but for some reason this creature frightened me so much it became a recurring character in my nightmares. The mummy would randomly appear and either stand around or just walk randomly. It never attacked me or anything, but I was still scared shitless. This continued until I had the final mummy nightmare, where I picked up the mummy and put it in a dinky little sailboat and blew it away.
That's such a symbolic, like, this fear is done now. I put you in a tiny sailboat and blow you away.
I love a happy ending.
No, that's amazing.
Like, the ending is great, but also the beginning of, I opened an ancient sarcophagus, and inside was a mummy. The last thing I'd expect.
I opened an ancient sarcophagus. Sorry.
An ancient sarcophagus.
That's what happens when someone tries to eat a car and it gets stuck in their throat. Carsophagus.
Listen, sometimes I drive my car that belongs to Gus.
It's true. Okay, next we have Pappy Doge's nightmare, and this is an odyssey, but it was
I'm so excited.
weird I had to include it.
I'm so excited.
Oh.
My first nightmare demon ever that I can remember was from when I was around 2 to 3 years old. I was so young, and it was so long ago that I can't remember if it was a nightmare, a really vivid intrusive thought, or sleep paralysis. I'm pretty sure I was in a sort of in-between state between awake and asleep when I had this dream thing. The dream thing starts with me in my bed, just casually going to sleep when the door opens. I thought it was my mom at first, but it was actually the E logo for Internet Explorer. Sorry, I need to compose myself. The bottom part of the E was its jaw, and the hole in the middle was its eye. It came into the room, tore me to pieces, and ate some of me, but left some pieces of my body under the covers and left the room. At this point, I was just a ghost observing from the corner of the room and watched as my mum came in to check on me. She thought I was asleep under the covers and just had to sit there and watch as she pulled back the blankets and saw nothing more than a pile of meat. I had no idea what organs were at that age and just assumed people were made out of solid meat and bones. To this day, this dream makes me shudder. I don't think I've ever had a dream that morbid since. And at age 3, I couldn't even conceptualize the idea of being torn to pieces at the time. My brain had just come up with theories of what's inside the human body as it was happening. I felt emotions during that dream that I had never felt once up until that point. I think that
Oh,
dream must have
man.
been the first time I developed a theory of mind, the realization of mortality, the realization that my mother is limited in her ability to protect me, and also empathy towards my mother and the grief she would have been feeling at that moment. That dream about Internet Explorer Nightmare Demon changed me.
Holy fucking shit.
Oh my god, Internet Explorer Demon altered your brain chemistry.
Internet Explorer is terrifying. If Internet Explorer ever comes back for anyone else's dreams, remember the spell to invoke the Firefox and protect you.
Here's the thing, we laugh, but don't you feel sudden and massive anxiety when you accidentally click on the Internet Explorer icon?
I'm gonna be real, no, because I don't have Internet Explorer on my computer at all.
Because you're afraid of it.
No, you know what my thing is that usually I use Chrome as my browser. I'm using it now, but every so often I'll accidentally activate Safari, and I'm afraid that I'll Jumanji myself.
You're gonna have a dream tonight that, like, the Chrome wheel comes in like a buzzsaw and like, zips through you.
Chrome, we were friends. I trusted you.
It's like, witness me, and slices you in half. We're on to Pope Val's nightmare.
The Pope?
Their Holiness says, the only nightmare I can genuinely remember is, after a game show where I lost and as a result a series of godly kaiju called Titans were released.
Oh.
I exited my apartment, which is where the game show took place. Then in parenthesis, it was underwater, so I imagine there was a portal in the doors or something. I saw a man who looked like a zombie and notably had a chunk out of his neck. He asked me, "Can I kill you?" To which I responded no and ran away. He then chased me around my hometown and school until I got on a bus and escaped him.
Oh my god.
I gotta say, the Titans did not play into the overall narrative as much as I thought they would.
Maybe the man with the bite out of his neck was like, "You released the Titans. Can I kill you?" It seems like fair.
I love how polite the man was.
Yeah, can I kill you? It seems reasonable, right? It seems fair.
This murderer is serious about consent. Can I kill you? Okay, if not. Then again, even though Pope Val said no, he continued to chase, so...
That's true, so I guess...
Not a man of high moral fiber.
Just as much as of a monster as all the Titans that were just released by
With
Pope
game
Val
show
using a game
in the
show
apartment
in their
underwater.
house.
Okay, this brings us to Queer Lang's nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
The most disturbing of my own horror nightmares is a recurring dream I had as a very young child, then in parentheses, lower than 10, where I would be having a nightmare in the dream and go and sit in the hallway between the doors of my sibling and my mother, a thing I did in real life when I had nightmares. But the difference of the dream is that my mother would step outside of her bedroom into the hall. Though she had very dark eyes, her eyes were entirely black, and then suddenly she stabs me in the chest with a large knife. And a great deal of the fear was the familiarity and the real nature of it, the meta element, and that in response to the nightmare, I couldn't sit in the hallway to calm down, as it could just be in the same dream.
Oh, yeah, that's seriously terrifying. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that's
so
like I said,
scary.
they're mostly pretty funny, but some in here are genuinely terrifying.
It's one thing when Internet Explorer flays you and your mother discovers you. It's another thing entirely when it's like you don't know if you can trust your mother to really be your mother or your nightmare mother.
Yeah, that's genuinely so eerie.
That's some Coraline shit right there.
You know when you're awake that the Internet Explorer on this side of reality isn't going to, eat you. Your mother is here and, just as alive as the other thing. As the other one.
It really just doesn't bear thinking about, does it? That brings us on to Rat Bastard's nightmare.
Great.
And Rat
Alright.
Bastard says, my most iconic nightmare monster had to be from the, quote, plier dream, unquote, where there was a condition where people would have one massive plier on their feet in place of their toes, and one of them attacked me in a convenience store.
Oh.
Odd.
Like,
Very odd.
Someone
I
with
see.
pliers instead of toes probably wouldn't feel as threatening as, a normal person with a conventional weapon. But I guess anyone
no, but
attacking
it's-
you in a
it's-
convenience store is distressing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
But
want to be
it's
attacked in a
one-
convenience store by
It's
anybody.
one set of pliers. It's one set of pliers, not a bunch of toes. Just giant pliers.
This is a world where some people are preternaturally good handymen, and that's how you know. Footy men.
True.
Footy men.
There you go.
Is this anything? Okay, so next we have Robbie Cooper's nightmare. Robbie gave us a list. Robbie said, here's some of my nightmare monsters. 1. A yellow and black moist foam M&M with googly eyes and a mouth that came out of my dresser and said, hum num num, I'm gonna get you.
I love this guy. What an attitude.
I love that he has a catchphrase.
I love that.
Hum num num, I'm gonna get you.
If you've made it this far into the video, please comment hum num num, I'm gonna get you, or work that into your comments somehow, because that's fucking amazing.
Hum num num. I'm gonna get you.
If you want more nightmares, you should check out all the episodes we wrote on the Bloody Disgusting podcast Mayfair Watcher Society, which is the only official Trevor Henderson, yes, that's right, that Trevor Henderson horror podcast out there. We've written some really scary stuff for it. Check the descriptions to find our episodes.
It's got scary monsters that live underground, in the woods, in creeks, in your local neighborhood, in your local school.
In your soul.
You cannot escape the monsters that Trevor Henderson has allowed us to bring to life with our writing in Mayfair Watcher Society. Go check it out on Bloody FM.
And if you want more, like, weird, surreal creatures, go check out the Kingmaker Histories, which is the steampunk fantasy podcast. We're all involved with in different capacities. It's Meg's the showrunner, but Addison is the main villain, and Gus and I have written episodes. Addison wrote an episode as well, but Gus and I have written episodes and do a bunch of like fun minor
as various
voices.
Characters.
You should definitely check it out if you want more just absurd, like, weird fiction fantasy with an awesome cast of characters, and it's right here on YouTube, so you can enjoy it without even leaving the website or app. That's the Kingmaker Histories. Okay, is everyone ready for the last few?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, buddy.
Hell yeah, so got 2 more monsters from Robbie Cooper. 6 stagecoachmen that sucked me into a wall where barbers put me into a large bowl of cold spaghetti.
Sure.
That's a fucking Mad Lib stream right there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Again, methods.
Yeah, and this next one is an invisible force that hurts my back and can shapeshift.
For me, that's just called, like, being over 30.
Yeah, I think it's scoliosis is the monster there.
Yeah, for me, that's just, like looking down at the cake this coming April and seeing 31 candles and being like, oh, fuck.
God. Okay, so we go from Robbie to Robin. This is Robin Brewer's nightmare. My nightmare demon that immediately comes to mind is I had a dream that I was falling through a dark sky and landed in the coils of a half-woman, half-snake being with long black hair and no face. For some reason, I knew she had the answers to the universe. So me, being the curious person I am, tried asking her all sorts of questions. In the dream, I could feel her coiling around me tighter and tighter, and she leans close and her voice is raspy and hissing as she whispers, "Do not ask questions you're not ready to have answers to."
Ugh.
And then she just kept squeezing me until I felt my body start to pop. I woke up right then. That was almost a decade ago, and I still haven't forgotten how her voice sounded.
Oh my god.
That's so creepy.
She's
Yeah,
a much
that's
less chill
scary.
Gorgon than Girl Boss Gorgon from the
Yeah,
start.
damn.
I can't believe that she has all the answers to the universe and, like, all she wants to do is squeeze the life out of people.
What a selfish piece of shit.
Why can't she hang?
Maybe the answer to the universe is that, like, we're all meant to have our lives squeezed away by her coils.
Oh, somebody in the comments of this video just got horny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Surely her, like, literally not having a face would be an impediment to that, right?
Oh, Henry, you sweet summer child.
It saves a plastic bag. Or no, it saves a paper bag.
Do you ever feel like a plastic
Do you
bag
ever feel
blowing through the wind?
Drifting in the wind.
Starting-
Why is that again?
Do you ever feel like a paper bag on a Gorgon's face?
I feel like I want to start this whole bit again.
Hashtag surprise Katy Perry. Second to last one, we have shark jumping walruses nightmares. They say, I have plenty of nightmare creatures. The ones I can recall from my childhood are as follows. I recall one that was basically a roll of magnet tape with Banjo-Kazooie googly eyes that somehow ended up swallowing me like an anaconda. More people got horny. There was another one called The Ghost, how creative, where I dreamt that I got stuck in a graveyard. No matter how far I ran, I would always wind up in that same cemetery. I never actually got a good look at it, but it was able to catch me, where it used its powers to hold me in the air, Darth Vader style. There was Then there was the Sandwich. Hey, we referenced her in SpongeBob Boys, which only appeared at the end of the dream after being foreshadowed like crazy, and ended up grabbing my leg from beneath the sand with only its sand-like arm being visible. Obsessed with the fact that this fucker's dreams have foreshadowing.
I mean, it occurs sometimes. The thing about foreshadowing in dreams for me is that it almost feels like the foreshadowing is like all in retrospect. Like a thing will occur and I'll be like, oh, of course I should have known because I remember that happening earlier in the dream.
It reminds me of that iconic Tumblr post. I just have a feeling you'll know this one, Addison, where it was like, the person dreamed that there was some new like menu item added at McDonald's that had like a really weird name. Like let's call it, for the sake of argument, the Blumpo Supreme. And they like I drove there in the middle of the night, no one else around. I went through the drive-through up to the like voice box thing and said, I want to order the Blumpo Supreme, and from the other end my own voice said, are you sure you're ready? And I woke up screaming.
No. Oh my god. That one's not even on the allotted things from our viewers, but that's amazingly scary.
It's so good.
That reminds me of that post. Have you guys seen it? That's like, I had a dream that there was a restaurant called It's Just Shrimps, and there was a menu item called
Christ.
called Shrimp Christ.
And if you order it, they have you arrested.
Oh my god. That's the last restaurant I can go because I've got the shellfish allergies.
And important to the lore of that person's dream, the Shrimp Christ was $900.
And it's because if you eat it, you go to the crabscape.
Oh my god. That's one of those things that, like, I can't even describe that post out loud without losing my shit a little bit.
I gotta be
so
honest,
good.
like the amount of money on the Shrimp Christ, it almost feels like the people who put it on the menu should be arrested because it's clearly a money laundering scheme.
It makes me think of that bit in Talladega Nights when Jean Girard puts on jazz and they all get angry and he's like, but it was on the jukebox. And it says, it's on there for profiling purposes. We also have George Michael and the Pet Shop Boys.
God.
And I think Shrimp Christ is just on the menu for profiling purposes. It's an FBI sting operation.
I love, like, when dreams, not only do they have, you know, the methods that are just like, okay, of course you know this is the method, but, like, the implicit incentive structures that make no sense within themselves.
See, those are the methods. That's the processes.
Yeah, the
Oh.
processes, of course.
Of course.
So I have one final dream for you, and it's from someone called Taxi.
Okay.
All right.
Take me where I want to go, Taxi.
Yes.
My nightmare demon was a floating wooden beehive sculpture with a face who called himself Boss. He absolutely terrified me for months when I was like 6. When we moved apartments, he disappeared until I had another dream where he told me, quote, I graduated, and I never saw him again.
Oh no, I thought my evil twin, Bus, would never surface again. I thought I'd never learn about him again. But he's still there. He graduated from nightmare school.
It's
We're
fine,
not
he
safe.
graduated.
I also love the fact that this person called Taxi has a dream monster called Bus. The natural enemy.
This is really, I'm going to say some really dumb shit, but he graduated, Suma, scream loudly.
Scream loudly. I'm gonna die.
He's got an MBA. The B stands for Boss.
And the A stands for ah!
Ah! The A stands for it's Bus.
God. I've got to say, I have absolutely loved making this video, and frankly, I would love to make a sequel. So if you have weird dreams in the vein of some of these, or like ones that are earnestly scary, please share them in the
Please.
comments. I will only ask, please be truthful.
Yeah, don't make up lies.
Don't do the like Reddit funny man thing that's like ruined 2-sentence horror stories.
Do you think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
Honestly, I want the comments of this video to be flooded with like as many real nightmares from as many people as possible. I think that would be amazing.
Until next time, we've been Henry, Gus, and Addison, and we'll be seeing you
In your
dreams.
nightmares!